Hello, everybody. Here's the Debian team BoF. First, I'd like to say hello to Laura, who's hopefully seeing the video in Madrid. And hello to Steve, who would like to lead this BoF, but who is sick and cannot join us, maybe on IRC. So what did we do, or what happened since last year's BoF? And there were two BoFs, the web team BoF, and I led a BoF about a new start page of Debian. And the idea was just to invent a new starting page. So only the real first web page of Debian to make it nicer. And then we had a web team sprint in Madrid where we worked a lot on this. And later you will see our current version of the new Debian web page. I also started doing a lot of cleanup on the Debian web page, because one thing that came out of the BoF that I held there was that we have a lot of outdated or obsolete content. And during the last months, I did a lot of things cleaning up, which is mostly remove content from our websites because they're out of date. And there's still work to do. So I'm not sure. Yeah, that was mainly done. Sure, the translators are improving web pages. We had the release announcement, so the press team, Laura, is also doing the publicity thing, which is very related to the web pages. And the new web page design. I think we should just show the current version. So, do we see everything? Or can you make it a little bit thinner, smaller? So one thing that we decided, and everyone knew that it has to be changed on the current version of the Debian start page. We have more than 130 links, a lot of text, and it was very confusing to find the information. And during the web sprint, we found out that we have two great big parts in Debian. The one part is the community, the people, and the other part is the technique, the operating system, the software. And that's why we said, oh, it would be nice to divide the front page into these two groups. And on the left side, you see the community thing, and on the right side are the more technical things. Then we picked the most important subtopics. Just wait a second. So the people, we have a philosophy, how you can get involved with Debian and join us, and some more topics. So the most important topics we put there. And on the right side, on the top thing, we have sure a very big download link. Then why you should choose Debian, things about support and manuals. And security updates are very important for us. And then there will be a new page with some other links and content. So below this, we said we also want to have announcement or news. Currently, it's we show the last 6 entries from a mailing list. So if we have like 3 security updates, we get 3 news. And we said, no, we want to change this, that not automatically the last 6 entries will just be shown, but that the publicity team will decide which news are important, that we want to have them on the start page or front page. And that's it. That's the content of the front page or start page we want to have.
Yeah, that's it. Heavily stripped down, but this was a summary of a web team sprint, which Laura has invited us to come to here and visit Madrid. And yeah, we worked on that, and this is in the end the current design. For sure, we have seen some problems and need to do further works. For example, with two more the links on both sides, which currently just called more pages, which collect, summarize other things that not completely fit into the other topics, but also needed to be fit somewhere. So these 2 pages we needed to create new. That's the only thing we created new. And all our links we found and have on the current start page are somewhere between the other links we summarized here.
If they're still important, because we had a lot of links where we said, oh, we do not need to have the link on the front page or even not on the more page, because these are not that important topics. So we try to look at the content where we link to and decide, is it important to have it on the front page or on the second level of information, and so on. Carsten did a lot of CSS stuff, so he's now our expert. Even this was not his former expertise. And maybe you can show on the left side with the photos.
After doing some mock-up things, I came to the impression the current website is a little bit too static, too cold, too simple, and I have one more problem found. If I do or I want to do something around here to create a download area, I need something similar on this side, because otherwise the links or the list entries are not equal on the size. They're currently not equal to, but on our point of view, it's currently enough, because that's finer things to do. But yeah, first so in the end, I wanted to see some photos, some graphics here that in some kind represent the community or current ongoing processes. Like, for sure, we are at the DebConf here, but we also have mini DebConf, so it's not set into a stone that we only show on the left side a photo or graphics from the main DebConf. So we created a little bit some kind of a slideshow, and currently it's set to 5 images. We are open to it. And mainly it was more a problem to find proper images than to say we want to have that or that. It's mostly a problem of we need a certain aspect ratio from the picture. Currently is 16:10, and to get a more homogeneous whole website view for people. So this is completely static, so a user need to click on the buttons, no automatic, which we had some times before. Yeah, the group footer is quite new. Yes, I've implemented this 2 days ago, I think. And Thomas, as he said, did a lot of minor things. It's quite incredible to see what Thomas already have done. And
maybe one thing, because I see some people from the design BoF, we are no expert at all in web design or whatever. So this is just how we feel it may look good. We had some very good improvements. For example, this sliding to the next page, Valesio also already told us, no, don't do this. This is not current state of design, so just make another change from one picture to another and we will implement it. But maybe there are some other minor things. For example, what I recognize on the top, you see the 2 headers, the community and the operating system. And this is a font with serifs, but all the other text is without serif. So I would just have an opinion. Is that okay, or do you say, no, this is an absolute no-go, do not mix serif and non-serif fonts? What we try to achieve is not to make a perfect design, because we are not designer. Our goal was to make the front page much better than before, and maybe we will have a bigger project to reinvent the whole Debian web design. So keep in mind, we are not experts. This is something we are happy about it, but if you have some suggestions, just maybe, yeah, some feedback would be nice.
Anyone want to go first? Because I have lots of stuff that I want to say. No?
I just have a question. Just to repeat
Yeah.
what was, I believe I just wanted to repeat. Could you repeat the part where you were talking about something being static or having like updates onto the page? I think from publicity, I kind of walked in right at that part.
So the static thing is, we have files, they're written in WML, and we generate HTML content out of it. So we are not using JavaScript or other techniques on the front page, and this is fixed for now. And maybe this, and what we say, or what we think, that we may change the pictures once a month. So once a month you will get another picture if you go on the web page. And the news will also maybe change every 2 weeks. We are not sure.
So, you know, we have the micro news that comes out fairly often. So would that be something that we could have pushed to the front page so it would be active current, on a consistent basis?
Currently on the top, we have the blog, micro news, and the planet. So, and maybe we will pick some important or attractive, important things from the micro news and put them into the news on the bottom of this page.
Well, I mean in the direction more so of just having, you know, consistently new content on the front page, rather than having to have the user go, and click onto the link to find out what news was available, having it kind of somewhat, you know, dynamic in the regard that.
You mean something like an RSS feed?
Yeah, I'd say along those lines, but you know, something that's always on the front page, so that when you're coming to find out about Debian, and we know a lot of users aren't necessarily going to the micro news site, but it'd be great to have that information on the front page.
Okay. Yeah, we want not to substitute micro news with a news section. The news section right on the bottom will just show the really important news about
Selected,
the project.
yeah.
Where sometimes, of course, is similar or equal to the content from the micro news, because Laura is doing this, and it's doing really well in my mind. Like the first one, it's a little bit outdated for sure. If a new point release is getting released, it will show on the micro news and on the website as well. And mostly Laura will, at least I guess, and Thomas probably too, Laura will decide which news will land on the front, on the start page. But if someone from us or someone external says, hey, I have a great news, we're always open, or Laura's always free to, like to see a suggestion from outside.
But for example, I would guess that we want to have the news when the last release or point release was announced. So if we just pick the 5 newest micro news, the news about the last point release may be not on the start page. So that's the reason why we said we want to select which news goes on the bottom part of the start page.
So I like that you effectively divided it into, the community and operating system is basically dividing it into developers and users. That's effectively what's happening. So I think that's nice. We did that for the Debian wiki, a DebConf wiki for a few releases, and that worked really well as well. The rest of the stuff is all things I think that can be fixed with CSS. So I guess you have this on Salsa somewhere that people can propose merge requests for. Like, for example, the download Debian text, I know lots of people who won't be able to read that because it's white and light text, and you need contrast for many people to be able to read something. And things like the sections beneath those main sections where they don't align. It would be nice if they aligned just in terms of OCD, which many Debian people also has. And I think the links on the top for blog, micro news, and planet, I don't think anyone will find them up there. I think they need to be maybe somewhere more in the community space.
I personally don't like the top header currently at all, but this goes deeply into a complete redesign we need at all for Debian.org in some kind. Yeah, it's like you say, it's things we can continuously improved, but we need to focus on some stuff. Otherwise, we can never have something ready. So that's the thing we currently wanted to start. And as Thomas said, I'm not a CSS or HTML programmer at all, and it's quite difficult to find people who are feel comfortable to help or to work on this.
Also, I'm not a professional web developer, but many of my web developer friends frown upon image carousels, and they tell their clients to go check any top 500 websites, and they never have carousels on it, because they introduce some usability and attention problems. And I'm not sure if you really want it, but just a tiny piece of
we decided that we want it in this version. So maybe if we have a larger redesign, we will remove it. But keep in mind, we want to make the current web page better, and we wanted to do it very soon, and not having maybe 2 more years for a redesign.
Yeah, so bottom line is I like it, and as soon as it can go live, that's great. So I agree. It's good, good way.
So Laura also said on IRC, if we are showing the micro news feed, then we will lose the translation. So translation are very important for us. So if we choose this is news that is announced tomorrow, then often we already have translation for these news. So that's why we also want to select which news are shown. We also have a to-do list. We know that there are some things to do. One thing was, one of the links of the right side was why Debian. So, and currently we have a web page, why Debian, and it was written like 15 years ago, and I like to completely rewrite this. So, and I also had some ideas which contact should be in this web page, and if somebody has interested or is maybe good in writing some text, please contact me or the web team, because there are some ideas, and I would like, if it will not take that much time, to rewrite the why Debian web page. There are these 2 sites named more. Maybe you can click on one, Carsten. So on the left side, community one, which is currently just a collection of links. One idea was for this site that we put a photo of our current DPL on it and maybe have a welcome message. Maybe add some more graphical elements. But for me, it was important that we reduce the number of links, and I think it's better, content is better to find if there are less links, even if you have to do 1 click more. Currently, we just listed some social contract, for example. We had a discussion, and for us Debian developer, we know what a social contract is, but maybe there are some items where we have to add some text to explain what do the users get as information if they click there. Contact us is pretty clear. On the other page we have, maybe you can show the other one. There we have some text. So is there anybody who knows, is it better to have just a link with 2 or 3 words, or to have some explanation? For example, the documentation or Debian Wiki link, I thought it's enough to say Debian Wiki, because everyone should know what a wiki is. And maybe with the documentation the same. And as you see, for Pure Blends or Developers Corner, I added some simple text to do some explanation. But I'm not sure what is a good way. So if there's somebody who knows, oh, normally you should do this or that, or should we write like 3 sentences for each link? Is there any opinion for this?
I have an opinion about the home. Can you please? So I'm not a programmer. I do not code. And if I say something that will take a lot of work to you, you can ignore it, no problem. But the guy on my front said a lot of good things, like line the links. I love it, the 2 sites, but I think we have to think a little about the reducing the size for being on mobile devices. Maybe mobile devices, the community came first and after the operating system. And on the top, I think we should do a better banner. I think like a bigger banner, and with the fonts. No, I'm a guy of printing materials. We can use the fonts that we already used on Debian releases, like the Buster font, maybe the logo one, to the things on website. Be more similar to the things on installer and on the other Debian materials. We can do a documentation about it, like guidelines to follow for the future. Don't worry about it now. But the work is really good. And maybe redraw some icons to they fit more with each other, like a family icons. But it's really nice. I don't know how much time it costs to program it, and you have already spent on it, but you are doing a great job.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Concerning the possibility to how does this site look on mobile devices, we have some things to do, and one thing is the W3 validation. So we have some minor problems. What about accessibility? Can anyone check how this page look on an Internet Explorer? So just give it a try and send us a screenshot. And also the mobile devices, Carsten did a really great job. So I think you are working the last 3 months very heavily on, and we always made the browser window very thin to see how does this look, and it works really nice, not perfectly, but yeah.
One note on this: the old style we see on the top, or but probably everybody in the room knows about, that's based or called Calais Design. And Calais Design, I have looked, it's quite, I think 12 years ago created. And Calais Design is definitely not mobile friendly, and it's not HTML5 or HTML5 and CSS3. And by this, all existing websites on www.debian.org isn't working well on mobile devices. So we need to think about rewriting the CSS style sheet for it, or create a new one. Or Markus Koshani mentioned me, if possible, take an existing CSS framework like Bootstrap, Vulgor, and what else is outside, but we need to adjust this. And explicitly in this corner, I and we would need help, because I have no deeper knowledge on this at all.
So regarding the font that you mentioned, that font that's used in the installer and in Buster is called Quicksand, and it is packaged, and there is a web font available for it too. But the problem is that that font tends to change from Debian release to Debian release, and changing that in the website after every release is kind of a bit awkward. So sometimes it feels like Debian should have more of a secondary official font to use on marketing materials that's more stable and more long-term than the actual releases. Yeah. And I'm not sure if that's something that you or the design team have thought about or have some thoughts about yet.
Yeah, as you said, we need some coordination and collaboration between the teams on this, because no team alone can do the stuff. And I have, like I said, no knowledge about things, what's going on in release, especially you have done, and I've seen you did a lot of these things. And
we really want to concentrate on this start page, because everything else will take a lot of discussions inside the project, who decides. So, and yeah, then that was our focus. Do a cleanup and make the start page much nicer. And for example, we know currently, can you go back please to the website? If you click on the download link on the right side, you will get the current version of this trip, which is very, in the old way, with a lot of text, a lot of choices. We know that we also need to have a new download page, which makes it much easier for the user to select which of the images to choose. We do not want to migrate both at the same time because it will take us more time. So our ideas, if we finish the minor things from on the start page, then we can go live with the start page, and later or maybe during that time someone will say, oh, I will take care on the download page how to restructure the content and the design, and this will be another smaller project. So any questions or comments? Jonathan.
You say, how can we see what it looks like on other places? Send us screenshots. Do you know about browsershots.org?
No.
Try it.
Yeah. Can someone write this in the Gobby, please? So, gehst du nochmal zu More? Rechts.
We are discussing about fonts and different views of the website on different devices. I'm not sure if it might have been followed already. Also make sure that all the elements there are accessible for people with visual disabilities. All the images have alt text and stuff.
Yeah. Then that's what I said. There's this webpage W3 validation, and this also checks the accessibility.
Okay.
And sure, it would be nice to get some feedback. We will write the URL of the current version that people that have or need a good accessibility that just give it a try and send us feedback where we should improve.
Thank you.
Again, this is one of the more pages. So if you click on the right side, what do you think? Is this good? Should we add more text, more explanation? Or, yeah, we want to have a discussion.
More graphics.
It does look very academic. Yes. That's the problem.
You know, I'm working at the university.
Also my opinion is like, you said we should restructure it a little bit and make it more fluffy, more lively with some graphics. Idea was to take a similar graphic like on the starting page, but for this we would need probably some people who can simply create something. Not all is foundable on the web, I guess. And yeah, the next thing is how to do this on the site. Currently, it is just a website with no CSS style sheet at all. And especially on new big screens, the site will looking boring.
So Lorjana is busy typing something. She says, about the more pages, colon. I thought she would type a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Maybe while she's typing that, I can make a comment because there's this trend in web design to put more information in one page, where in the past you would split things up more, because the idea is that changing page is relatively expensive. Like you have to click on a link, wait for a new page to load, and it kind of breaks your attention too. And scrolling, either using a mouse or on a tablet or a phone, is relatively cheap, and you send fewer requests as well. So the idea is, maybe this could be part of a bigger page that contains similar type of information. I'm not sure. You can maybe add more images then, or make it more exciting to read the whole page. But anyway, here comes Lorjana's comment. About the more pages, I would not add explanations for now, just the links, because those explanations may not be final. And I think it's better to not add new text and translation unless it's really thought. Yeah. I think she meant important.
Yeah. One idea I had, if you say it's better to have more content on one page, we could have two links, two more, but in the end it goes to the same page and maybe on the left side, the community more links are on the top, and the other link on the right side, the software OS more points to the same page, but there to the bottom. But in the end, technically, we added 2 new directories, community and software, where we will put in the future some stuff into it. But it should be possible maybe to have it on one page. So I think one thing is we are not good in design, and we are also not that good in how to, in creating content. So more text, less text. So if you know anyone, or if you're somebody who says, oh, I'm very good in writing explanations. For example, have a look at the Why Debian page and talk to me, because there's a lot of things to do. So, do you want to show the current? Doesn't work.
Yeah, if someone goes to Why Debian section, you will see, it's quite outdated and need to be rewritten.
For example, on the Why Debian page, the LTS project is not mentioned there, and I think this is very important for enterprise users or even end users to know. Oh, Debian has an LTS support. So, yeah.
I know some excellent web designers, but they all cost money. Has anybody had any discussion with Sam about budget for this?
No, we did not have discussions yet. I was also thinking if we want to redesign the whole web domain, then we should get external help, especially maybe not for the design thing, but for how to structure the information. I think we may have some designers here, but how do we want to structure all the information, and which information needs to be on the web page, or which information should go to the wiki? So I was thinking about, get some money and help.
I would certainly advocate getting somebody involved early in that discussion, because they will have a lot of opinions and they'll probably surprise you as well.
Yeah, so the one good thing would be if we had some external. So when we agreed to have some external help, then we do this, what the external help would say, go this way. Yeah, then that's what I also told the people at the design BoF. If you want to have some new designs in Debian, whatever it is for the release or whatever, keep in mind that there will be some discussion. And I told them they should always say, we are the expert in design, so please do not discuss. We as developers should not discuss that much. If an expert says this is a better design than yours, then we should, just...
I've never, not once, sent either a print designer or web design to a designer and A, got back what I was expecting, or B, not been surprised that it looked a lot better than I ever imagined. So it really is worth getting them involved early and talk about the ideas rather than present them with a thing and say, now make this look pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a step we, at least at my will, should do at any time. And I also think we should really try to get some external help, and at least, it will cost money, but money is not the problem in the Debian project. What we are lacking is time and skills. And as Jonathan said, we just need to be clear, it's okay to do it this way, and we find some way, somehow, I guess.
So Laura also says about design and accessibility, we really need more people trying things and reviewing, because the web team right now also cares about maintaining the current pages, adding new content, and so on. So it's difficult to find time for this work, so please join us.
Yeah.
That's really true. Maybe Thomas had mentioned it earlier, what are the people behind the web team? Yes, nothing told about, it's quite easy. It's Laura, it's Steve, Rhonda, and both guys sitting here. That's the whole web team.
And a lot of translators. And
yeah, for sure, yes. Yeah. I don't want to underestimate the thing of the translators there. But 5 persons are too less to keep this whole website running. I guess, Thomas, you have some counters on web pages we are running?
Yeah, we have another discussion. Currently, we have 56,000 WML files, and out of them, 36,000 are news and security announcement with their translations. And one discussion is, do we want to remove this? So we have like security announcement from 1998 in several languages. Are these really important to keep on the web page somewhere? So this will also be a discussion where it may be possible to remove a bigger bunch of web pages that are currently sometimes maintained, because if we change the links from HTTP to HTTPS and so on. So, but this would also be a bigger discussion or a complete redesign of the web page. So, and again, we want to focus on the start page, then with the Why Debian page, the more pages, and then we want to go live, and the new download page will be the next project.
Okay, because we are running slightly out of time, not a problem. Just want to go further. Yeah, as Thomas said, we want to focus on the start page, and given we are ready, we say it's done. We will getting in contact with the translators, because right before it makes no sense if a translator starting the websites to translate. So even if someone is listening in the audience or in the IRC, please don't do anything on it. This is useless currently. But I don't know exactly when, but month, 2 months, I guess it will take. We are probably in the position to say, yeah, that's it, we go live. Yeah, the project news, Thomas already had said. Yeah, a minor thing we have on the existing website, on the footer, a thing. 1 second.
So this is the language selector. So currently we have just listed all the languages which are where we have the translation, and we want to convert this into like a Hoover menu thing.
And Rhonda has done a little bit, or doesn't mean a little bit, has done currently a working prototype, how a Hoover could work. I'm currently not that satisfied with the solution. We want to keep, for sure, this whole part as small as possible, and we don't want add content that's not really needed. That's the whole point of a Hoover element. We want to add, it's not completely ready. I guess I can work a little bit the next 2 days or the next week at home a little bit further on that, and I will also integrate it into the current homepage. That's the one thing, and
so scroll down.
Yeah, as said, does anyone find any issues regarding to accessibility? Talk to us or create a merge request.
So currently we know that there's this W3 validation service. If there's something better or something different to check the accessibility, then yeah, understand.
Accessibility isn't only about making sure that the parser thing is happy. Things like the way the text flows and where the images end up relative to the text and what the links on and so on are all important for screen readers and things. So I don't think there's any substitute for making sure somebody with genuine accessibility problems has tried it out as well as getting the automated stuff. They're both valuable, but there's nothing like real-world testing.
Okay. Do we have a Debian accessibility mailing list we should make contact?
I don't recall it off the top of my head, but there is one.
Yeah.
Yeah, and as Laura already said on the IRC, if anyone wants to volunteer or only want to volunteer on a special thing, please come to us, talk to us, get in contact with us. We are more than happy to take such additions, and actions. So yeah, that's basically it. I see we are rightly on the time side.
Can you switch back to the web page, because I want to get more feedback?
All the new.
The new one. The question about the fonts mixing serif and non-serif, up or down? Any opinion? You are not an expert in design, so I want to hear the designers.
Yeah, you can combine serif with no serif types. It's not a problem. You can combine it any order, but sometimes some people are more like a classical designer, cathedratic designer. I don't know how to say. They have some preference how to apply it, and it's unusual to use too much serif on online material, because the most of the web fonts are non-serif, or they are like a different kind of serif. If you see the Debian logo font, they are a little bit curved, but it's not a huge serif. So we have some slab serifs and tiny serifs too that can be used. In my personal opinion, I like to follow the serif type for printed material and something more like books and long reading materials. For short reads, I prefer non-serif, and I like fonts with huge X weight, that they are more rounded. So we have to study to compare, do a lot of alternatives and put them side by side and select the best one. But I think we should make a little guideline about what kind of font you use for the next release, and on the site so that things don't be so different.
So it's good to hear that this is not a major fault that we made.
Yeah.
So that's very nice. So and if you say, oh, I recognize this font, and if you have the name of another serif font, which may be a little bit better, I think this would be very easy to implement. So if there are some suggestions, even this other font will look nearly the same or has the same size, then just tell us the name of the font and we see if it's available.
We should do some tests.
Yeah.
We have to do some tests, but we will look for it. And
oh, great. Thank you very much.
Sent to you.
Yeah, great. So even very small changes are very good to us. So I think time is over. Or one more question?
Yes.
Two? So 2 more questions.
So just one more suggestion on the download page. The download page usually points to a lot of different flavors. If you could have a sub-page which has screenshots of all the different flavors, that would be really nice.
Okay.
Just a suggestion,
so
if it seems doable. Yeah.
So if this is, do you apply for, I will make some suggestion for the download page. We will, I guess, completely rewrite it or redesign it, because we have too much information, and having different target groups or different kinds of flavors, sure. And if you have some ideas how to structure this, because it's also currently too much information that we have on the download page.
Okay.
As usual, I would say start with the requirements and then decide what it's going to say.
Okay.
Yeah, we have currently, I will probably currently not show, we have a web page we just mocked up while we sit in Madrid, and it was exactly this way, Jonathan, as you said, we thought this is important, and this is with this small part of a web page we can get all the 85% of a classical user stuffs, like a classical installer image, a classical netstaller image, and all special download things need to go to separate sites, like a Porter image or something like that. So, yeah.
So
but, yes.
I will put the URL of this version and also the current version of the new download page. So if you want to give it a try, you can do this. Okay, thank you very much. That's